Alright, hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I went ahead and pulled out a bunch of very old PC games from my closet that have been hidden away for many years. I thought it would be sort of a nostalgic experience to go through each one and share my memories with you guys of my first experiences with PC games. A lot of these games you have probably heard of, and some of them have even gone on to have great success in the gaming industry, even nowadays. So it should be a fun little video. So the first games I'm going to go through are the loose discs. I don't have cases for these, unfortunately. First one, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of this game. I spent many hours in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, a very fun sort of theme park simulation management game. And it even has Six Flags on the side. I remember going to Six Flags all the time when I was younger. Next game, and this one's kind of funny. I might need to change my lighting a little bit, but I think that'll work. This is Leisure Suit Larry's Casino. This was my dad's game. He used to like gamble online with other people, and I used to watch him play. I used to think it was so cool that you could gamble like real money online, and I was big into blackjack. I used to think I was pretty good at blackjack, even though it's a pretty simple game. Next game is SimCity 3000. This is of course, a city simulator, city management simulator. I'm sure all of you guys have heard of SimCity at some point in your lives, but yeah, as a kid, I didn't find it too fun to play. But I did enjoy using cheats. With cheats, you could get infinite money, and you can also spawn a variety of like environmental hazards like earthquakes and tornadoes and all sorts of fun stuff to destroy your city. I thought it was more fun to destroy the city than build it, but that was just me. Here's Sim Theme Park and also Sim Coaster. These two games are very similar. They're kind of like Roller Coaster Tycoon, although in these games they had a little bit better graphics, and it was more about building like a smaller scale theme park and less about like earning money. I think it was just more about having fun. It was more of a fun game, I think. I don't know what I'm saying. Here's Sim Golf. I did not play this game. I did not like golf as a kid. NASCAR Racing. This was a fun racing game. I used to not play to race. I used to play this game just to make the biggest pile-ups possible, the biggest and like deadliest crashes. This game had some fun physics and destruction mechanics to it. A lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And here's the original Diablo. I did not play this game, unfortunately. This was my dad's game as well. I used to watch him play it sometimes. It was a very like dark and sort of like a horror game in some aspects. But as a kid, this game actually I was kind of scared of this game a little bit, just because there were so many like demons and like devil creatures, and you had to like go down into like down multiple floors to fight the devil or something like that, to fight Diablo. I don't know, it was very dark, and the whole atmosphere of the game was very creepy. And here is Tonka Construction, and I should also mention that I'm not dissing on Diablo. I think Diablo is a fantastic game. Later on, I got into Diablo 3, absolutely love that game, and Diablo 2 as well. But let's keep on moving. Here's Tonka Construction. If you grew up in the 90s, you probably heard of the Tonka games. They're just fun little like construction simulators that were great for kids. I had a lot of fun with Tonka. I think I played through the entire game when I was younger. So now we're going to go on to the better stuff. Here is Spore. If you've heard of Spore, you will know that this is probably one of the biggest upsets. Very similar to No Man's Sky in many ways. There was a lot of hype for Spore. It was said to change the gaming industry. It was revolutionary. You could create millions and millions of different creatures, and you can command them, you can breed them, you can even create a civilization, and you can command like an army and fight other creatures. But unfortunately, the gameplay just wasn't that fun, and there wasn't a whole lot of content, even though it said that it had like infinite amounts of content. I think I paid $60 for this game on launch, and it was sort of a disappointment for me. But one funny thing I will note about this game, oh wait, I think there's a little opening. Oh, is there? Oh, there is. So yes, a pretty nice box art, I will say. I really wish that console games would have box art like this. I mean, you can definitely see that the developers like took a lot of care into making this box, and it's kind of cool. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, you can share. Okay, back then you were able to share your creations online with other people, and you could also like download other people's creations, and that was one of the big selling point of this game. But unfortunately, everybody, like almost everybody, was uploading penis monsters. The servers were full of penis monsters, and I don't know, you would constantly see penis monsters everywhere, and unfortunately, it's just the way it goes. People trolling. So next one, World of Warcraft 10-day free trial. I never got into World of Warcraft. I thought it was way too expensive. You had to pay like $40 or $50 for the main game, plus $15 a month. I thought that was way too much. I was into RuneScape at the time, and that was only $5 a month, so paying $15 a month was a huge upgrade, and my PC just couldn't handle World of Warcraft that well, and I just didn't think it was that fun. I did play the trial for a little while, but the quests were so boring, and I think it was all about just getting the max level before any fun could be had. So I was not a fan of World of Warcraft. I think my dad's friend gave me that trial. So here is Starcraft. Oh, actually, let's not do that one yet. Here's the original Starcraft, the battle chest. And yeah. I think everyone's heard of Starcraft, a really fun RTS game. I bought this game like a year before Starcraft 2 was released, so I didn't get into the original Starcraft just because the graphics are extremely dated. Just look at those graphics. So unfortunately, I wasn't a big fan of the original Starcraft, but like a year later, I got Starcraft 2, and here is the Heart of the Swarm expansion, as you can see there. And I was a huge fan of StarCraft. I played this for countless hours, tons of fun, and I mean, the campaign was great, and I really love this arcade mode that they had. You can actually build custom like levels and custom like game mechanics. People were making like tower defense games. They were making all sorts of unique games that you would normally only find in like Flash games or maybe like custom games in like. It sort of reminded me of Halo a little bit, but the arcade modes in both of these games were absolutely phenomenal, and I played things like Nexus Wars and Squadron Tower Defense for so many hours. Absolutely loved StarCraft 2, although I did not get into the multiplayer very much because people were far better than me. I didn't have that much experience with with RTSs in general, so I was pretty bad in the multiplayer aspect, and I didn't do too well. And obviously, it's not very fun to constantly lose because you suck. Here is Guild Wars, Game of the Year edition, and the expansion. Again, very cool box art with these little sleeves that show you some of the game art and some of the things you can experience. I think Guild Wars was $10 a month, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of like a World of Warcraft competitor. A lot of people were really into Guild Wars. I didn't really play these games at all. I played it for like 1 or 2 days and I just didn't get into it. So that was kind of a bust as well. I knew someone in middle school who was really into Guild Wars, but I just didn't find it to be that appealing. So here's the next stack. There's some really good ones in here. Here is the original Call of Duty. Oh yeah, Call of Duty 1. Can you believe that? So the funny thing about Call of Duty is Call of Duty wasn't very popular until about Modern Warfare and World at War. Before that, there was like 4 or 5 Call of Duty games that were released. A lot of, like, at least 4, I think, were released on PC. But not very many people heard about it, and most people didn't care at the time. It wasn't until Modern Warfare that it really grew big. I didn't play this much. I really wasn't into shooters as a kid. So, but yeah, it's cool to have the original Call of Duty. This is a nice little like display piece for any Call of Duty fans. And I do have a lot of Call of Duty games. I was big into Call of Duty for a while. Here's The Sims 2. I also had The Sims 1 at the time. I don't know what happened to the case, but I had a lot of fun playing The Sims 2. I also had this for PS2, The Sims Busting Out, the original Sims, and Also on the Xbox, I think I had The Sims 2. But this was a fun game to play with friends. When friends came over, it was a lot of fun. What me and my like best friend at the time would do, we would create ourselves in the game, and then we would create girls that we knew from our school, like girls we had crushes on, and then we would pretend to, or we not pretend, but we'd actually simulate like what our lives would be like if we manage to like get with them and marry them and like have kids or whatever and like sleep with them. It was just a very like cringy game, but I don't know, it was a lot of fun. It brings back a lot of good memories of me and my friend at the time. Here is Dawn of War, another great RTS game. You may start to realize that I have a lot of RTS games. RTS games were fantastic real-time strategy, and the original Dawn of War, I think a lot of people still consider this to be the best Dawn of War because they really changed things up in Dawn of War 2. They made it more like an RPG rather than a real-time strategy, but yeah, the original Dawn of War, great game. Here is some great ones that I am very fond of: Command & Conquer Red Strike and Command & Conquer Generals. If you don't know what Red Strike is, it's actually... Oops. Let me put this over here. It's actually Red Alert 2, and it also came with the expansion. There's the Allies and Soviet, and also Yuri's Revenge. This was one of my favorite games when I was a kid. Red Alert 2, absolutely loved it. And if you know of my handle on Steam or on Xbox or anywhere, it's usually always Desolator IV, and the word Desolator came from a unit in this game. There was a unit that could like shoot acid at enemies and dissolve them, and it was very powerful even against like tanks and stuff, and I thought it was a really cool name, so I've been using the username Desolator for a very long time. But Command & Conquer, great game. I loved Command & Conquer 3 as well, and Command & Conquer Generals, another great game that a lot of you have probably heard of. Unfortunately for the Command & Conquer series, Red Alert 3 was a big disappointment, and then Command & Conquer 4 was like a huge failure, and I think EA decided to just completely stop the Command & Conquer series because it was heading downhill fast. So that's unfortunate. Command & Conquer is... I think Command & Conquer has a better gameplay style than Starcraft. Command & Conquer is more about building up a giant army and taking your time, while Starcraft is all about rushing and going as fast as you can. I like taking my time, and I don't know, I liked Command & Conquer a lot. So next on the list is Age of Empires. Sorry about this. Okay, Age of Empires 2, The Conqueror's expansion. I also had the original game. I'm not sure what happened to the CD, but of course, Age of Empires 2 is a classic. Another real-time strategy, sort of like a historical strategy game. Here is Empires, Dawn of the Modern World. I'm not entirely sure if this is the first Age of Empires or if this is a completely separate game in general. It might be a completely separate game, but I think they were trying to copy the Age of Empires 2 appeal. I didn't play Empires too much, so I don't have much to say about that game. Rise of Nations. Okay, so if any of you have not heard of Rise of Nations, I encourage you to go to the Steam store page right now and check it out. I think this game is better than Age of Empires in every way possible. It's more fun. You get to start out as like a caveman era, and you build your way up all the way to the modern era, and there's a bunch of different civilizations that you go through, and overall it's just a really, really fun game, and I played this game so much. There's a serial key on the back, that's kind of funny. And I rebought this game recently on Steam, so I might make some videos in the future of Rise of Nations, just because it's an excellent RTS, even today. Just absolutely fantastic, and I love it. So, next on the list, oh yeah, okay. Here we go. So this is Medieval Total War and the Viking Invasion expansion. So I think, I could be mistaken here, but I think this is the first Total War game ever. Nowadays, there's like 10 of them, but I had the original Medieval Total War, and this game was actually made by a different company than the Total War games or a different studio than the Total War games that come out today, and it plays very differently. Honestly, I think the original Total War games were more strategic, and it was more about like planning your like overworld turns. I don't know what I'm trying to say. it's different. There's a different appeal to it, and if you play it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's not the same game, and personally, I really like the originals better than the ones that come out now. And it may just be nostalgic, like nostalgia talking. But honestly, I've never really enjoyed a Total War game since Medieval Total War. For some reason, I mean, even today, I can still go back to this game and have a lot of fun. It's the type of game that you can play for countless hours, and all about world domination. I just absolutely loved it, and it was kind of fast. It was kind of a fast-paced game too. It didn't take too long to build up an army and start conquering land and expanding your empire. And here is the Viking invasion. I played this more than the original, I believe, just because it was like smaller scale. You fought on the British Isles or the Viking territory, and it was a lot easier to win the game, and it took a lot less time, and the units were pretty cool. Lots of cool Viking factions. If does Activision still make the Total War games? Creative Assembly makes them now. If Creative Assembly ever watches this video, I highly encourage you guys to remake a Viking Total War game. Like, if a Viking Total War game came out in like 2017, I think it would be a huge hit. I think a lot of people are really big into Vikings right now, just because the show Vikings, I think it's called Vikings, right, on the History Channel is very popular. I don't know. I think there needs to be a Total War game about Vikings. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm just rambling on now. I need to quickly get through this video before it drags on for ages. So here is Rome Total War. I was so hyped up on this game. So hyped up. I could not believe like how many units were on the screen. I used to see this game in magazines, and I was just, I don't know, I was just so hyped for this game. And I bought it, and unfortunately it just could not run on my old piece of crap PC. It took like half an hour to load like one stage, and it just ran like complete crap, and I was so disappointed. So yeah, I never really got to play this game. I should go back someday and try it out again. I'm sure it's a good game. I just could not play it on my PC. So here's one a lot of you guys have probably never heard of. This is Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo. So this is like a Street Fighter game, although it's kind of a twist. It's actually a puzzle game, sort of like Tetris, but it's like a 1v1 type puzzle game, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Probably not. But basically you try to match various colors and then break gems in order to send like blocks to the enemy screen. But every time you break a gem, your little character, I'm not sure if you can see, you probably can't see, but your little character will, like your little Street Fighter character will do a little move, and it was really fun to watch. And all the characters are like cute little chibi characters. They're very like, they look like kids sorta, and I don't know, it was just very appealing. And I think I also bought this game on the Xbox 360. I think it's in the arcade. So if you guys have an Xbox, be sure to check this game out on the Xbox arcade. A fantastic puzzle game. Still probably my most favorite puzzle game of all time. Absolutely love Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. They really need to make another one. And then the last two games, Dungeon Siege. I didn't play this game very much. I honestly have no memory about it. I think it's like a sort of like a D&D type game, but yeah. And then the last on the list, Rugrats Go Wild. Again, I don't think I played this very much. This may have been my sister's game. I don't even remember. I was a big fan of Rugrats, but I just don't remember this game at all. So yeah, there you have it. A bunch of old PC games. These are some of the first PC games I ever played, and yeah. Just a lot of good memories that we had. Just a bunch of old relics nowadays. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting to see that some games like Call of Duty have gone on to be like the top selling games of all time, and Starcraft as well, and even things like Diablo, extremely popular, and the Total War series is still going strong. And then other games like Command & Conquer and Dawn of War have completely failed pretty much nowadays. I think there is another Dawn of War game coming out soon. I could be mistaken on that. Dawn of War 3, is that a thing? Maybe, maybe not. And Guild Wars is pretty much dead too. So it's sort of like a 50-50. Like half the games, even though all of these games were good in their own right, half of them have gone on to make millions and millions of dollars, and other games have pretty much gone non-existent, which is kind of interesting in my opinion. But anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching my video, and yeah, have a nice day. Stay tuned for more. Subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks for watching.